we are ready to go ahead and hop into the clash. Both of our casters are ready.
Woo!
Their hands are laid out on the field, ready to draw and mulligan. And let's hop right into it. We've got Ari versus JacKyomu. And I'm so excited to get into this. It looks like, based on how these players are holding their cards, we've resolved mulligans, or Ari might be going to mulligan right here. No, they're going.
And it looks like we're going, and we see turn 1 rabbit coming out.
Name a better duo. Let's be honest. Name a better duo. Turn 1, Ash Rabbit defense position.
Speaking of, you were predicting the future a little bit. If you guys can see that beautiful, beautiful playmat there over on Ari's side.
Oh yeah, I love that you can see Zeus in the background a little bit, right at the corner where the underworld is. We won't be seeing him shortly, but for the time being, we can admire that wonderful art.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's lurking, and actually, I hadn't noticed that before, so thank you.
It's sick. It looks like JacKyomu spending to draw to start the turn, and then going right into a Nectar of the Gods. Very interesting. Potentially top deck that. Otherwise, we would have seen an Elestral cast. Looks like we're going for a second one. Absolutely.
Oh my. What is he digging for? What are you cooking?
Well, there's a lot of water spirits in the underworld, and I, as a water caster, know what that might mean. This is looking a little exciting. This could be some sort of variant of heal stall if we're doing so much water, but also a deck that I've been very excited about for a long time. But I'm hoping. I don't know for sure. I'm hoping this is Water Reanimator. I've had my buddy open up double nog, draw 6 turn 1 many times versus me. I'm hoping that this, because I want to see this deck pop off. This deck's sick.
But we do see a re-enchant of that rabbit over on Ari's side. Going to be looking at the top 3 of their deck. And JacKyomu has no back row set, despite all of that digging that we saw him do.
That's the indicator to me that this is Water Reanimator, is that deck plays basically 0 back row. The game plan is just to heal like crazy and play 2 drops and punch your opponent as hard as you can, repeatedly.
If that is the case, I cannot wait to see this happen.
This is the catch me outside deck for real. Oh, JacKyomu expending a Frost alongside a Water here, which actually maybe this is a Cryoburn type deck as well. That, I don't know. That's a strange expend early.
Yeah.
To see.
Because if it was just in there for the Cryoblast, like you say, you would think that we'd hold on to it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But who's to say? Oh, and we see, oh my gosh, Sluggle come out. So you might be right. We might be on this heal stall Water Reanimator, many people are calling it, list.
Yeah, this is incredible. The Sluggle being the perfect attack to crash with the Ast Rabbit, which you absolutely want to do. Looks like JacKyomu considering setting a face down there.
Oh.
The sort of interesting shout is, if this is any sort of 2-drop turbo deck, Helios's Chariot Ride is a very real card to be concerned about if you're Ari. And that's something that they probably are not expecting at the very moment.
Yeah, personally, I'm having flashbacks to Elestriad Season 2 right now. Helios's Chariot Ride is a huge threat. It could be happening, for sure.
It's a horrifying thing, but it looks like Ari... Hydrake!
What?
Hydrake. That's crazy. Oh my...
Put him back on the mic!
Get him on. He has things to say.
I think you predicted the future a little bit here, Caleb.
I maybe more than I thought it might have been. I was hoping to predict the future with Water Reanimator. I was not expecting Hydrake Wind. Like, my assumption is that this is probably some sort of wind deck then. JacKyomu with the Foamy, though. Very interesting to see what they might be going for off of this. Already considering their options, Poison Tipped Arrow feels horrible here if you're Ari.
Yeah.
You can just crash the Foamy.
And either way, we're looking at 2 Elestrals on either side here that neither of them wants to attack the other. You don't want to give that advantage to either caster right now.
Please do not kill the Hydrake. He becomes very big very quickly.
Unless you do. I would love to see him pop off.
Yeah, it would be incredible. Looks like Ari gonna draw for turn here. JacKyomu passing, not crashing. Ari gonna expend the draw. And both of these casters have a lot of cards in hand right now. Neither of them really wanting to put on too much of an offensive, except I'm lying. Ari does want to put on an offensive here and is swinging with the Hydrake into the Foamy. The question is, does Ari have Gorgon's Gaze for the Foamy? It looks like they don't, and JacKyomu is going to get to search out from their deck and cast whatever 1-cost water they want.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think that's 5 cards in hand over on Ari's side, 4 set. Like you were saying, we are looking at truly just a bunch of cards have been found at this point. And is that a Dratagua?
Yeah, so it's Dratagua from JacKyomu. Ari going to Poison Tipped Arrow the Dratagua, which will let them pop it this end.
Ooh, okay. So I have to imagine that was the plan all along. Okay. Yes, very spicy.
Ari looked at the Foamy cast, had a Poison Tipped Arrow set and ready, considers their options though, and yes, you can in fact PTA pop in end phase whatever the Foamy casts. And so here JacKyomu will get to heal for 2, but that Drataga's going away. They are not going to get to ascend on their next turn unless they got something like a Tadpuff in hand, which with all those cards in hand, surely they must have.
They must have something, because you're right. They've got, at this point, half their deck in hand. And we have 3 set over on Ari's side, 2 on JacKyomu's side. And I think that we are going to start getting into really setting up these decks, which a Galaxy comes out.
That's crazy. So if you're JacKyomu, this is a very interesting proposition now, because you want to kill the Hydrake, obviously. However, then Twindra comes out. And
so you want Gorgon's Gaze, or
so what you're telling me is I need a Gorgon's Gaze or I lose the game.
But Ari's looking through the deck. It's looking like...
Ooh! You are the predictor. That is a TP1 Twindra that's hitting the board. Ooh. An absolutely gorgeous card.
I had to know there had to be some flexes there from our LGS champion over on Ari's side here. And oh man, it is truly gorgeous.
Yeah, the Twindra was one of the last Stellars that I pulled from that set, and I was like, I need it sooner because I love playing Wind. Hydrake is great. Slept on deck.
Yeah, I mean, once it gets going, and it is getting going right now, it is absolutely terrifying.
Oh, the Ambrosia from Ari is very interesting. It feels preemptive here, potentially. Usually you want to wait as long as possible with Ambrosias to not give your opponent any extra information about the contents of your hand or spirit deck, but they're just going to go for it. Indicates to me that they may have been out of Thunder and they have an Astrabbit in hand, because they healed back 2 Wind and a Thunder. Otherwise, this really is just a very preemptive Ambrosia. Be very curious to see what they end up casting out here. Looks like they're putting a Wind down though, and they're casting out a Galax Air. Oh, no way!
Now, Caleb, what happens when you Galax Air a Galaxy?
So whenever a swap effect applies to another swap effect, you just go back as if nothing happened. 2 negatives equal a positive here. So if Galaxy Air effect is applying to Galaxy, that's a 2/5. The thing is though, do we really want that? Because Twindra could crash here, deal a damage, and go up into the Pen Terror. So Ari maybe is doing the calculations in their head of outing this Galaxy. Oh, we don't even need to consider it. There's a Shield of Achilles coming down from JacKyomu. And so Galaxy the Galaxy, probably very much the correct thing to do here. JacKyomu having to spend a lot of life, and I don't know if you see those, but those were some fire spirits that just hit the underworld from JacKyomu's side.
Is this standard in this water list that you guys maybe predicted? Are we looking at potentially, possibly Eruption? Some kind of spicy tech in this list?
It's very possible it's a side deck card. That would be my best guess. Or maybe we're playing a Smoltuga Neckruff package, but that also, there's 2 fire spirits in there, I think. That would be a lot to expend or to dedicate to just 1 Neckruff. this is a very interesting game state that these two casters have engineered here. JacKyomu still a metric butt ton of cards in hand. Lots of options. 8 spirits in Spirit deck is not nothing. A Thunder Spirit being expended to draw here. They don't have enough cards in hand, apparently.
Yeah, we still need more.
And, you know, frankly, this Galaxair is looking a little threatening because... And 3 back row. That's a lot. That is a lot to deal with.
Yeah, you are definitely looking at, if you are JacKyomu, an intimidating board state from Ari's side here. And we see Elechick come out.
Elechick going to be able to search out probably Aeolus here.
Aeolus?
You know, yeah, my mind goes to obviously Zeus or Demeter, but it's very likely this is getting Aeolus. No, we're getting Zeus.
Oh, here we were trying to put some respect on Aeolus's name, but you know that one Zeus was covered up. Now that the underworld is there, so we have to get the other Zeus represented on board.
Well, actually, Zeus is back. I was wrong. Zeus is in the stadium slot, so we're gonna get double Zeus stuff as Ari swings in for 2 damage.
Yeah, even with limiting to 1, Ari said, "I'm gonna find a way to have 2 Zeus."
There will be 2. Looks like JacKyomu gonna be drawing for turn here. 6 spirits is not a lot, but into a deck with lots of heal tools, it's very possible that we could be seeing a heal for 20 this turn. I'm only over exaggerating a little bit on that.
Yeah, only a little bit, possibly 14. I'm thinking would be realistically what we'd be seeing. And as you've pointed out, he does have, I believe the official measurement you used was metric crap load of cards in hand. And I wonder with that expend last turn, is he still digging for something? What are we trying to get the pieces for here?
I think JacKyomu might have the pieces as they tap their finger on the table and they start to potentially play some cards here. They're special casting a Tadpuff. I will note Tadpuff has to be cast in attack position. And so likely Jack is reading here and swapping it. There it is.
There he
goes.
Then
we're ascending to something. What is it? What are we going for? Second water. Lakagon.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
That
water
is
2 drop.
Massive. That Lakagon is gigantic. Lakagon gains a attack point for every water in Underworld. JacKyomu has 16 spirits out of Spirit deck at the moment.
This has been the plan all along.
It's a gigantic Lakagon. That thing is huge, massive. And also, if there's any heal card in hand, JacKyomu can start picking apart Ari's backline.
That's true. And Ari is going to have some very specific cards to answer. And here comes the Ambrosia. Oh my goodness.
All has to do is heal a single water spirit, and that will enable Jack to start popping whatever they want. Likely back row here. See what Ari potentially chains here. A Gorgon's Gaze to prevent the pop. Unsure what the target was from Lakagon, but it doesn't matter now, as Lakagon won't be swinging at all this turn and also won't be popping anything.
No, but even so, that's still very expensive for Ari, and Lakagon is still hanging around this next turn.
This is very interesting for Ari. Now the thing is, if Ari has a Gorgon's Gaze set, Lakagon's only a natural 2 attack stat, which means Gorgon's Gaze, either of these Elestrals gets over it. If there's any way for Ari to reach a 7 stat line, Galaxair swapping the Lakagon attack and defense stat also does it.
So Ari definitely has outs here. JacKyomu still, with all of those cards in hand, as you're saying, still poised to set this up. Both casters are in potentially good, potentially dangerous situations. It remains to be seen.
It definitely looks to be in Ari's favor in terms of the spirit count differential. But what is Ari doing to out a maybe 16 attack Lakagon here? Like, Pantera doesn't get over that.
That we found the one thing that Pantera cannot do, actually.
Yeah, although we do know that there's a Zeus in hand, but it doesn't matter Ari potentially looks like they were going for Galaxair here to swap the stats, and JacKyomu saying no, no, no to that. Gorgon's gazing, and Ari's going to cast out an Eddy to swap the Lock-on to defense position.
Oh my
They had the out.
goodness.
They had all the outs, actually.
Uh-huh. Okay.
A second Gorgon's gaze to prevent the swap is massive. JacKyomu needed this so bad, putting themselves down to 1 spirit. They need this because Ari has the Search Zeus in hand. If Lock-on goes to defense, it's over for JacKyomu. It's over. They need to be able to last this tide, this onslaught from Ari, to make it to the next turn, and they cast Ambrosia from the Spirit deck, last Spirit, to heal at least a 1 water. This Lock-on's popping.
It's gotta be at least 1.
At least 1 water.
Back row. This
2
is
fire! This,
possibly a Lavalith?
so we're outside of Lavalith potential here. It could be, but we wouldn't be able to get there as the difference of spirits on board is 1 right now. So Lavalith can't be normal cast. We're considering our options here. You know, the Ambrosia was cast. I assume we're waiting to determine what the Lock-on is targeting with its pop effect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Shield of Achilles. It never resolves. It never resolves. As was foretold in the ancient scrolls, it never resolved.
Oh my goodness. And even though Lavalith is not a real threat right now, it can't be special cast or normal cast with 2. We do know that Ari has that Zeus. So that could just be an intimidation to warn Ari against playing Zeus.
Yeah, very much so. That's a very good point. If they were to play Zeus and leave it with 1 spirit on board, that immediately puts Ari within Lavalith range, and you never want to be within range of a Lavalith. Is that a second shield pop by Lock-on after the slow resolve?
My gosh.
Just picking apart the board from JacKyomu's end. You know, this is what we were saying. Very much this game has been on a knife's edge. Although Ari has been up in spirit and board presence, this Lock-on was all JacKyomu needed to get back into the game, and having the double Gorgon's Gaze to stick it around is massive. The only thing is, if that last back row is live and JacKyomu can't out it, this Galaxair can threaten the Lock-on next turn anyway. That is a rise from the
ashes. I have never seen this card played. I'm incredibly excited right now.
So the move is likely to grab a Sluggle here to trigger Lock-on another time. I made a joke about healing for 20. We have actually healed 9 this turn. So we are well on our way. It's almost 20. It's like if you round up, it's 20.
Yeah, absolutely. This is insane. So I'm thinking we're now out of Lavalith range, but that's okay. It does make me wonder what those fire spirits were for.
It's very likely that there's just a Lavalith in the main deck at this point. It is just a solid thing. If your opponent is playing and you're not, you're drawing your entire deck, the Lavalith is always live because you're not putting spirits on board until turn 5.
And did you see what happened there?
Yeah, so the Lock-on swung over Galaxair and dealt 1 damage to Ari.
Okay,
and so
and that makes sense. That Galaxair was the biggest thing threatening that Lock-on, and now what does Ari have to answer it?
There's not a lot. Another Eddy could potentially do it. Eddy is single-handedly an option. If Ari is running multiple Galaxair somehow, that could do it. We got to remember there's a Zeus in hand. And so that Lock-on, if there's a way to get it to defense or swap its defense to its attack stat, that Lock-on is functionally a 3 attacker, and anything on board right now can out that. So Ari is searching somehow for a way to be able to get this Lock-on to defense position, or Hydrake, Twindra, Penterror. That may have been what JacKyomu was just doing, is counting the water and underworld for Ari so they can know the exact attack stat of this Lock-on.
Ooh, and we see that Zeus come out now. Okay.
So yeah, so likely Zeusing down the Lock-on. Double Cryoblast? No.
And Hydrate coming out.
So this this Hydrake will be able to go up into the Twindra, into the Pantera, but that will take Ari's entire Spirit deck at this point, I believe.
This will be a very expensive endeavor for sure.
Hold on.
Or not.
The Locagon has died. That is very okay. Not certain how that happened. I must have missed something here.
Potentially a crash with the Zeus bringing it down into range. I am not sure.
It may be that Locagon was just only a 4 or a 7 attacker. Maybe there's no way there's only 5 water spirits in Underworld. This is very interesting. Well, the Misenchanted Twindra hits the board, and now Ari can just go to town, dealing 2 points of damage here.
And suddenly we are looking at a very different board than we had just a few seconds ago.
Yeah,
and
that is crazy.
I have to wonder what JacKyomu can do, if anything at all, because this is a huge board state for Ari.
Yeah, this is very difficult to deal with. 5 spirits on board, plays into Lavalith. Lavalith does clear this board, but JacKyomu expended all those fires, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I think that was with the Rise from the Ashes. We saw those fire spirits.
So I have confirmation from production. Lockdown was only 7 attacks. Somehow, I don't understand. There's only 5 water spirits in Underworld. I guess JacKyomu just went too crazy healing, or just
I think
not
we
running
healed
enough water
too
spirits.
close to the sun here, possibly. Okay, and we see an Eddie coming out, switching the other Eddie to defense position, and going to be swinging over it.
This, to me, is going to indicate potentially a Tsunami in the backline, because otherwise, I guess you can't out Twindra. It's very, very interesting. We'll have to see what's going on from JacKyomu's point of view, because this might just be over. 1 spirit to 1 spirit, but Ari has so much more.
And that Eddie from Ari's side would take care of that potential set Tsunami, and I'm thinking that's game 1.
It's looking like it. JacKyomu picking up the back row and starting to disassemble their Underworld. Assuming here JacKyomu, being the one who lost the last game, will probably be going first here. No, they're going second, as Ari plays out a Sorlet going first with a Wind Spirit underneath it. Sets 2 and passes.
I really love to see a properly enchanted Sorlet. That does my heart good.
We love to see a little king win, you know?
Although, with that 5 stat, this king not so little, actually. That's a huge threat, although Eddie comes out. Eddie can do anything.
Eddie can do anything, but not when a Gorgon's Gaze is hitting
Eddie can do anything except for fight through Gorgon's Gaze. This is a qualifier we have had to give already a couple times today.
Yeah. Looks like that's all JacKyomu has after setting a singular back row here. And Ari draw for turn, picking out an Elestral they want to cast. It looks like they're sifting through their spirit deck. Looks like a water spirit. That is a Galaxy, making the Edward a single attack point.
Now talk about a little king over on that side.
Hey, both these Elestrals are not going to the gym. They're not doing leg day.
No, they are not. And I have to wonder that one set, maybe JacKyomu's starting that Gorgon's Gaze collection that we saw last game, because having those 2 set was so critical to getting that Locagon out.
Yeah, and the great thing from JacKyomu's perspective is while this Eddie put on decent... Oh, sorry. Pause. Resting on your laurels. Hitting the board immediately. Galaxy is the singular card that screws over Water Reanimator. As someone who plays versus this deck at locals frequently, Galaxy is my favorite card in my deck. Second favorite card is Specteris. So that's actually a question. Is Ari siding Specteris, expecting a Galaxy-heavy format?
That is a good question, and I hope that we get to have that answered this game. And we see...
That's Atlantis.
Is that
We're seeing a rise from the depths here.
Ooh!
Eddie is coming back, and Eddie's upset. Eddie wants that Sorlet in defense position.
Yeah, Eddie is upsetty, for sure. He's coming back with a vengeance right now.
Edward 2 Electric Boogaloo swings over the Sorlet, and Ari draws for a turn, facing down a 5-2 Edward. That's not nothing. That's a big Alestral right there. That's a Necro.
Yeah. He heard us talking about him, heard us calling him a little king. He said, actually.
He said, no.
Although we do see a Galaxair coming out from Ari's side.
And
that is absolutely going to be able to threaten this Eddie.
Yeah, now Eddie's a 2-5, and JacKyomu has to consider, as Ari declares an attack, what to do with this Eddie. Nothing to do but let it go to the underworld.
I wonder if he will rise from the depths again.
I think JacKyomu probably doesn't want to if they can avoid it. But Sluggle is going to come out. Sluggle can crash. Sluggle crashed from Galaxy here, or Galaxair here.
Yes, the other Galax, the lesser known
Galax Z.
And it looks like we are gonna crash here.
Yeah, and that's absolutely what JacKyomu wants. That Atlantis being up means Sluggle just is a rise from the depths target now, and heals 3, refunds a rise from the ashes play too. So JacKyomu could be doing big things on this very next turn. Astrabbit in attack position from Ari, looking at the top 3 cards of their deck, breaking the mold.
And it is the gorgeous tournament pack Astrabbit. So again, we're seeing those flexes coming out little by little.
This is a player who goes to their LGS. They support their local game scene.
And look at the rewards that they have gained from it.
Yeah. And just a little shout out to all the people at home. If you're not aware of a local game store near you that has Elestrals and Elestrals events, there is a locator on the website. Make sure to go check it out, and you can get really cool cards just like that Astrabbit. It might be my favorite art, and I own one of the I own a place of Stellar Astrabbits from Kickstarter.
That's also my favorite Astrabbit. Although the Clash Astrabbit coming.
Ooh, the Clash one. Ooh, the Dallas Open one. Just saying. JacKyomu explaining the draw here. You know, this game feels like it's been going on for quite a while with the number of game actions that have occurred, but we're still only in the first couple of turns of this game. JacKyomu, rise from the depths, brings out a water spirit. Considering their options, looking, rise from the depths is going to land. That's probably
we are once more rising from the depths,
and this is where this deck heals so much in a turn.
And it is in fact that Sluggle.
Ooh. The Gorgon's Gaze on the Sluggle is very interesting.
Ari does not want to let JacKyomu continue to heal here, which, I have to say, completely reasonable, understandable.
Yeah, conventional wisdom would say Gorgon's Gazing a heal 3 Elestral like Sluggle or Quackle, not a good idea. In this case, though, Gorgon's Gaze is preventing the ascension of Sluggle into something like a Locagon or a Caprigal or another solid water 2-drop like Whale Ants that you might be running in a deck like this. But it looks like JacKyomu has no other Elestrals in hand that they want to cast, so they're just going to pass.
I do wonder if JacKyomu was going to attempt to ascend, and therefore that was a very heads-up play from Ari. Although we see a Viscerus coming out on Ari's side, and considering that JacKyomu only has that one set, he's going to crash. We're going to see another Viscerus come out. Ari is suddenly in a very, very scary position.
Yeah, this might be the point where Ari starts to kind of take advantage of this board and how JacKyomu has, despite how slow the first game was from JacKyomu's end, JacKyomu has actually been playing more into Ari this game, which has led them to go down in spirits and engage with the board a lot faster versus deep drawing for those combo pieces. So the question is, does JacKyomu have combo? Because they likely did last turn. Do they have the third rise from the depths? Do they have a rise from the ashes? Or a Water Jolton?
Water Jolton? Incredible.
This is wonderful. This allows JacKyomu to hit over the defense position Viserys, which that's not nothing. This back row likely Shield of Achilles though, which will just really solidify the lead here for Ari, I think. Rushing down JacKyomu next turn to potentially 6 spirits and spirit deck, that's the way you deal with this water reanimator deck, is you just put on so much pressure that they can't use those spirits to heal and generate all this advantage.
That makes sense. And the only comfort that we can offer JacKyomu is that there is not a third Viscerus that you have to worry about right now.
It's the third one that gets you,
Oh my goodness. And we do have that one set from JacKyomu that's been sitting here this whole game. I have to wonder what that is.
Well, we might be able to find out, but at the moment, Astrabbit just putting down the pressure even further. That's 2 of them. A second Astrabbit has hit the board here. That is 2/5 swinging in, dealing a lot of damage to JacKyomu. Put him to 5 spirits potentially this turn.
Yeah, this is a huge turn from Ari, and the only thing that would do anything here is oh, well, we are simply just going to take all that damage, so never mind.
Yeah, that leaves JacKyomu on not a lot, but this card could do it all. No backflip from Ari finally. JacKyomu gonna consider what could be done here. An Eddie, that is a start. Eddie is gonna be able to out one of these Viscerus. Eddie also a 5/2 here, which is quite threatening.
That's right. I honestly forgot that we still had Atlantis sitting over there, but yes, he is in fact still a pretty decent sized king right now.
And Ambrosia coming down from JacKyomu as well, likely indicating they need some of these non-water spirits, or they're just really afraid of dying next turn potentially. Doesn't want to hold it for Lakagon.
I think that if I'm looking at Ari's board, I'm pretty afraid of dying.
You know, I can understand that.
You know what, JacKyomu? Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know what? I respect your game. Yeah. Real recognized real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 6 spirits on JacKyomu's side to Ari's, assuming here 7. The question is, will Ari be able to out this 2 defense Eddie? Cryoblast does it. We haven't seen Frost out of Ari yet, though. A Wind Spirit for the Hydrake, that will do it. This could be a massive turn if that back row from JacKyomu is not Tsunami.
I feel like we would have seen it last turn if it was.
I'd be inclined to agree with you.
It does seem like Twindra is in fact going to hit the board here. And I don't know what JacKyomu can do from this position.
I think it might be Explode. I think JacKyomu might be exploding because a double wind enchanted. No, we're not even going for the Pantera. This is a Twindra just straight up. A Water Thunder Twindra to crash with the Eddie and oh no, we're swinging the Viserys to crash. Use the effect, fail to find.
Again, there is no third Viscerus in that deck.
Shield.
Oh, that's what it's been this entire time.
This puts JacKyomu to 1. I don't know how they get their way out of this. It needs to be like Ambrosia. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
there it is.
That's the start.
You know what? Shame on us. We should have assumed.
He always has it.
He always has it. And these 2 Astrabbit being in attack, there isn't much that can't deal with this. And a Galaxy comes out, and that is in fact something that can deal with it.
Yeah, swing over an Astrabbit here is strong, but you know what's stronger? Water enchanting an Astrabbit here. Makes it a 6/3. But it looks like we're going for Specteris. Saw the Lunar Spirit, had to be. That is the easiest way to out a galaxy here. And that'll happen. Ari gonna ping in for 1 with the 2/5 Astrabbit.
And unless JacKyomu has that third Ambrosia, is able to pay for it off of the Atlantis, I think that's another water Jolton?
Jolton hit over Astrabbit. This is, if Ari has a normal cast, this is game.
I believe in Jolton, and it's Eddie.
JacKyomu gonna scoop it up from there.
Wow, that was an incredible game.
That was a wonderful set. Very well played from both of these casters.